One Talk 101.3 The Buzz, and we are on Mix TV this morning. As every morning, MixTV.tv. Mix Mornings is served by Tzatziki's, and we're going to bring in the Director of Bradley County Schools, Dr. Linda Cash, and Bradley County Sheriff Steve Lawson. This will actually function as our local and state news this morning. Good morning, Dr. Cash. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing great. Sheriff, good morning. Steve Lawson, how are you?
Good morning, Steve.
Dr. Cash, it's been quite an interesting week. It's not a good word, but it's what I'll use. This week, in my estimation, all of the secondary schools have had threats in Bradley County and Cleveland City, it seems, and maybe you'll update me on that. Mm-hmm. But first of all, how's the system responding to this?
Well, I think it's important that we let our families know that this is a social media spread and prank, and it does cause disruption in the schools. And when you talk about disruption in the schools, then we have to stop it. But I will say our administrators, our teachers handled everything beautifully. And for those who don't know, it was a Snapchat. And Sheriff may go into it a little more, but it came from Snapchat, and the kids just took it and started passing it on, and it did cause a great deal of disruption. It's something that we will not tolerate. We want to educate our families, we want to educate our students, but the social media piece is not good right now for causing kids to do things they have no business doing.
Bradley County Sheriff Steve Lawson, bring us update on the law enforcement into this, would you?
Well, it started, I guess, we communicated Sunday night.
Yes.
And when I was at the First Baptist Conference, and I was leaving there, and I communicated with Patrick Spangler about Bradley Central High School. And if you know, Sheriff Joe Guy McMinn County had entertained over the weekend the threat up there. It's an old threat that said Central High School, and I think that got carried over to Bradley, saying Bradley Central, so then it got included, and then you moved on and you had Ocoee, you had Lake Forest, and we're on the same page, and I think we're communicating well. I think that's the difference here. And yesterday we charged one individual at one of the schools with the Snapchat message and spreading it with false reports. He's in custody this morning, a juvenile. I think we got to show that this is serious for our community. When you send your most precious assets to school, you want them taken care of and feel safe, and we're blessed in this county, and this is not on my account, but we started having an SRO in every school, so I did beef that up to high schools. Now we have 2 and a retired officer at the gate. So we on the law enforcement end are working well, I believe, with the school administrations across the board to make sure that the families need to understand, and we were talking outside, it needs to start at home. You need to understand the Snapchat and the TikTok and even going to, like we was talking, tearing up the bathrooms to hitting somebody in the mouth. This is ridiculous, and we have to start at home addressing this. And then if it gets to us on down, then our SROs need to immediately address it and pay the price. They got to pay the price. They got to know this is really serious.
Yeah, and one of the things that I want to say for our parents is it's important that you monitor those phones and what the kids are saying, because they're easily influenced and they don't recognize the consequences that come with their actions sometimes. But at the same time, we will take action because you are causing major disruptions. And in the day and time that we are in, we want everyone to feel safe. We do our very best with safety. That's one of our major goals. And working with our parents, we think that we can impact it in a positive way. But social media is not good for our students in many ways. It can be used for good, but when you get out there and there are outside forces trying to influence them and do things that they don't even recognize that, hey, what is this? And all of a sudden it's gone viral and it's passed on, and the disruptions are not okay. And then when something, heaven forbid, something real comes along, do people ignore it and go, oh, it's just another it's just another joke. So we're serious about, taking action if we have students who are violating this.
I want to revisit that topic in just a moment, because a senior senator from the state of Tennessee, United States Senator Marsha Blackburn, has actually convened a hearing just last week, I believe, about social media impact on children. I want to talk about that in a second. But Sheriff Lawson, you've actually made some news this morning just now. So let me repeat, you have a juvenile in custody in this case, is that correct?
Yes, a juvenile was charged yesterday by juvenile petition by our SRO with filing the false report.
With filing a false report.
Yeah.
False report is actually the charge, and
Okay.
that goes from spreading a message that all throughout, and we were able to run it back to one individual.
Okay.
And when we ran it back to that one individual and the source, they were charged.
Okay.
And juvenile held him until he goes before the judge.
Okay.
And I want to say to our parents, we're asking you to actually check their phones and to talk to your child if something does come across their phone, to take it to your parent or take it to an adult in the school. Don't pass it on and send it on. It's too dangerous to do that, and it can be tracked. And they need to know and understand that. But really, our parents, we need their support and their help and talking to their children about if something comes across your phone, because what we're understanding is it will come across the phone, and I think it says school threat, and they click on, and that's what starts the whole piece. But them passing it on is on them. It's on the student.
We're joined by Bradley County Sheriff Steve Lawson, and of course, Bradley County Schools Director Dr. Linda Cash. I'm going to go back for a moment, Dr. Cash. So obviously a lot of concerned families. We were getting calls here, messages.
Right.
I've all go over town, I'm sure. But what do you say to that family about feeling safe about sending their child or grandchild to school? Well,
I can tell you this, that our teachers, our administrators, our SRO officers are specifically trained and designed to handle this. Some of our schools have been on soft lockdowns where there's not movement in the building. So when those come in, we take immediate action. And that's the thing, we won't ignore it. And that's my message to parents. Even if it is not a true, we immediately contact the sheriff's office. They start working the case, but we keep our schools safe, which means you might come to school and not be allowed to come in if we are truly under that investigation. But it is a safe place. It's the safest place for your students. The quick action is always there, and we want you to know our job is to keep your students safe. We are trained to handle this. We have multiple actions that take place, and then we always communicate with our parents. We're not going to hide things. And I think some people say don't send this out, but we feel very responsible to let the families know and let our parents know we received this, we're taking action. But what we are asking is please trust us and know we're going to keep your kids safe. And kids are smart. They like to go home, and so they may send and say, I would say contact your principal first before you panic. And that's what we're saying is this causes such a disruption, and it's an unnecessary disruption.
Sheriff, I'll give you the final word. Anything you want to remind us about here?
Well, I think if you look beyond this, we started the threat assessment team, and it meets, I know, on November the 8th, and we'll review all these cases. It includes people from the school system, the sheriff's office, a mental health professional, people from juvenile, the district attorney's office, and they all come together. And they come together at least bi-monthly to review every case.
Yes.
Detective Sergeant Kevin White actually handles that threat assessment team and heads it up. So I think in this community, we're probably way ahead in addressing the juvenile problems and working with the school system and having communication with the SROs and their training and everything. And so we're blessed to be there. I'm blessed to work with the school system. They communicate with me well. I've been making tours to the schools, and I'm trying to go to every school and say, how can we do better? Wow. So we just talking about Valley View, Waterville, some of the schools I've already been to, and that continues, and I think that relationship is good.
I do think, Steve, before we leave, it's important for parents to know that this is a national issue. It's not just local. It's a national issue that's being pushed out by Snapchat.
All right. Again, Dr. Linda Cash is the director of Bradley County Schools, and Bradley County Sheriff Steve Lawson, who has confirmed just a moment ago that there is a penalty for things of this nature, that a juvenile has been charged with filing a false report. and that is in the act of sharing this information. And also, is that a post or a share, or both?
It was a Snapchat post originally.
Okay.
Came off Snapchat, and he got it through.
He screenshotted it and then started sending it around.
I see what you're saying.
So he communicated all over the school, so we started looking at different people, where did they get it, and backtracking,
Sure.
and was able to pin it down to one
There is
person.
a penalty, ladies and gentlemen, for this behavior. So as Dr. Cash said, parents, get real involved here. And I do appreciate you both coming in very much. All right, it is 8:13. Good morning. Going to move on and bring you more coming up. We're going to be joined by District Attorney General Steve Crump. He's going to talk about the block party, downtown Halloween block party, which was found